Hello from beautiful, sunny, but Hurricane Ian ravaged Sanibel Island, Florida. Today we're going to show you how our Ford F-150 Lightning is overpowering one of Ian's most critical impacts. Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Fortunately, the main living spaces of Mrs. E-Hermes' home is elevated 12 feet above flood level. Unfortunately, the lower storage and garage level was hit with about 8.5 feet of storm surge. That being said, we recognize that we are incredibly fortunate overall that the main living spaces were spared. Others were not as lucky. The house did exactly what it was designed to do, including the lower level breakaway walls. They broke away to limit the stress on the wood pilings supporting the house. One of the walls that broke away was the one that all of the incoming electrical gear was mounted on, which not only damaged the gear itself, but also the main service line into the house to the main panel, thus leaving the house without permanent power for over 2 months now. But not having permanent power is not the same thing as not having any power, as we have been living here quite comfortably ever since I drove the Ford F-150 Lightning down from Ohio a few weeks ago. See the link above to that video. I had not yet had the opportunity to install the 80 amp Ford Charge Station Pro and related other hardware for the whole house backup, which turns out to be a good thing because if I had, the truck likely would have been parked in the garage and would then have been under 8.5 feet of water. Instead, we are relying on the Pro Power on board and particularly the 240 volt 30 amp outlet in the rear of the truck. I did think long and hard about maybe just taking the secondary conductors out of the disconnect switch here, out of here, connecting the truck directly to that with a 30 amp, but I didn't do it for a number of reasons. First of all, these wires were in the salt water, so they're a little suspect. There's some damage up there to the wiring, or potential damage, I'm not sure. Don't really want to take that chance. And most importantly, if you did that, you'd have a 30 amp service. But I'm afraid that people would accidentally turn on too many things and keep tripping the breaker on the truck. So we're just going to use the Rube Goldberg extension cord model. This is where the power comes into the house for the first floor. The orange cord, which serves the bedroom here, and a lot of low voltage charging, some of the tools for some of the construction work we're doing, the Mrs. E-Hermes phone charger, a lamp. But the yellow cord is the big one, and that's the one that serves the kitchen, which is probably the biggest load in the dryer, the biggest 110 volt load. So that comes through here, serves this, it's a refrigerator, but it's also battery operated and it can be charged by solar. Because our main refrigerator, while the truck would certainly run it and support it, it broke right before the storm, and we were using the beverage refrigerator down the lower level for our refrigerator in the meantime until we got this replaced, and that's now gone. So this is what we're using for a refrigerator. Then we have the 2 hot plates that Mrs. E-Hermes cooks on. We have the microwave. We have the coffee maker. And that's pretty much the kitchen setup. Clark Griswold, I think, would be proud of our wire management here on the additional power loads. But it's all protected. It is a 20 amp circuit with a 20 amp extension cord. So it's safe. And a lot of the loads, even though there are a lot of things plugged in, there are many times very small loads. This is another charging station where we charge our fan we use at night, Mrs. E-Hermes reader. I charge my computer usually in the bedroom that I showed you earlier. Charge some of the wireless lights here. So all the sources of power though, even if we're charging batteries and using them later, they're all coming from the truck. That's the only power source to the house. Hopefully this is everything we need to wire up the water heater and eventually the clothes dryer and or pool pump. So not to mention we have the permanent repairs there, but we haven't got with the electrician yet to turn them over to him. So we've got 80 feet of number 8 3/8 wire, number 8 with a ground. I forget what wire size the ground is, whatever comes with it. We got 2 male twist locks that fit in the twist lock cover there in the bed. We got 2 females, one for the water heater. I'm gonna do some quick disconnects so that I can unplug from one place and put it in the other. So one for the water heater, one for the clothes dryer / pool pump. We got wire strippers, we got wire nuts, and we got some cable ties to hold things in place. It's not going to be supported per NEC, I'm sure, but at least we want to be somewhat safe. So here's our utility space in the attic, and here's the water heater, obviously. Here's the electric for the water heater. And fortunately for me, there's a junction box here. So all I've done is open up the junction box. I'm now going to take the wires apart, and then I'll wire to this whip to the truck, and we'll have the water heater. It'll even be protected by the 30-amp fuse. So when we go to do laundry, Mrs. E-Hermes comes over into the living room and unplugs the lamp that we use at night. We only do laundry through the day when it's light out. Brings that extension cord over to the laundry area and plugs the washing machine into that. And that's how we do our washing. So normally the water heater is what we always have plugged into the truck. But when it comes time to dry laundry, we have to unhook that. We drag the cord from the truck without over the bed and dangle it down through the railing. Then I've created a short cord that has the twist lock on it and a dryer outlet on this end. And I take that and I plug the dryer in, and now we're ready to dry. Then, when the laundry's done for the day, we unhook the dryer and we return this cord back to the water heater and plug it back in. Like so. Here we have Mrs. E-Hermes cooking dinner for the evening using the 2 induction cooktops and a lamp for light in the kitchen, all off the rear circuit of the truck. Now for tonight's dinner, Mrs. E-Hermes is using one of the induction cooktops and the microwave. We were going to use the other induction cooktop to warm a vegetable in, but turns out we didn't have any in the cupboard when we thought we did, so we're going to have the chicken, black beans, and
applesauce.
Applesauce. It's a little bit of a pain when it's time to go. We have to unplug everything. Twist lock's the hardest one. Hang them out of the way so they don't get dirty. The bed ones are pretty easy. Then we have to open the frunk. And close the frunk. We arrived last Friday afternoon. I think our flight landed about 2 or 2:30. We went from the airport to the charging station. We charged and grocery shopped and did some other things, and we left the charging station 95% charged. It took 5% to get here, so we got here with 90% charge. We're leaving with 16% charge, so we used 74% of the total battery for a whole week's living. So in the week that the lightning powered the house, we did all the normal things we would do. We did not run the HVAC. I did not have it hooked to that. And as you saw, we had to convert between the water heater or the dryer, but not both at the same time. But other than that, we did, I don't know, I think Mrs. E-Hermes did 6 or 7 loads of laundry. We cooked our meals, washed our dishes, not with the dishwasher, but all the hot water from that. Certainly showers, lighting, everything except HVAC that you would normally do. And we did all of that for an entire week and used less than 3/4 of the battery, which I find stunning. In fact, I find that more impressive, actually, than the fact that this 8,000-pound brick can go 70 miles an hour for 250 miles with a battery. Powering the house, to me, just feels somehow more special. I'm not sure why that is, but it seems more impressive to me. The Pro Power on board allows you to set how much battery you want to remain, and then it'll shut off so you don't get stranded and not unable to get to the charger. I had it set for 25 miles. I need about 5%, maybe 7. I was going to make sure I had at least 10% to get to the charger. So having 16% in a whole week's time, we didn't even use what I had allocated. One more thing I want to add, not only did we power the house all week, but the wall where the incoming utilities came in was obviously destroyed, and that wiped out our internet connection as well. But the wireless hotspot built into the truck has allowed us to have constant internet connection. That's how I've uploaded and downloaded these files and done all the editing. So it's unlimited data, it's pretty fast, and as long as you have a cellular connection nearby, which there's one on the mainland close enough that it's able to grab it. It's a little stronger than a phone is too, grabbing it. So we really appreciate that part of the F-150 as well. This is the Charge Point charging station at Colonial Square Shopping Center in Fort Myers. This is where the closest charger is that's fast enough to charge the truck. It's a 62.5 kW charger, and it's 21 miles from the island. Now, Mrs. E-Hermes, can you tell us the pros and the cons of the Ford F-150 Pro Power Onboard powering the house?
It gives me hot water.
That's a pro.
Ability to cook.
Cooking,
and lighting.
Yes, and the cons?
Extension cords.
Yes, we should mention that this was for demonstration purposes only, and the installation with those cords running and using a 8-3 wire without conduit or proper support certainly does not meet the NEC, and it's not for a permanent installation at all. We hope you enjoyed this video showing how the Pro Power Onboard allowed us to power our house for an entire week while we were without power due to Hurricane Ian and Sanibel. If you did, please hit that like button. As always, please subscribe and please hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Thank you!